Welcome to the Face to Face. I'm your host, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre. Face to Face is a bilingual series of videos recorded here in Coquitlam. We acknowledge that Coquitlam is located on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Coquitlam. We thank the Coquitlam people who continue to live on these lands and care for them along the waters and all that is above and below. Today on the Face to Face, I have with me Gloria and Dominic Cuccione from the Michael Cuccione Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So pleased to be here.
I've heard about the Michael Cuccione Foundation through different gala, different activities, different things, different fundraisers you've been doing. So it's a pleasure to have you because I know you've been doing a lot, you've been giving a lot to the community, specifically children with cancer.
Yes.
So my first question for you is, who created the foundation and why the foundation was created?
That was a very good question. A 9.5-year-old boy who was battling through his ordeal at the time,
Which is Michael.
Michael, our son, decided as soon as he was diagnosed that he wanted to make a difference. And as parents, we just wanted to nurture him back to good health. But he had a vision that he was going to put a CD out, and he did. He wrote 5 songs, did the music for them, and out came the CD called Making a Difference. And from there, he started his foundation. Now, most people start a foundation because they lose a loved one. Mm-hmm. Well, this young man decided he's going to start a foundation and make a huge difference for the children that are battling cancer. So it was Michael who started his own foundation, nurtured it for the first 5 years before we lost him 8 days after his 16th birthday. So we as a family decided after losing Michael that he left us this legacy and all the tools. What are we going to do? Well, we knew what we're going to do, but we sat down with our 2 other children and asked them what they wanted us to do as a family. And it was my 13-year-old son at the time, Stephen, said, "Dad, we got to continue. This is what Michael would have wanted us to do."
Yeah, and to fill in the blanks a little bit, some of the gaps is Michael was diagnosed at 9.5 years old, right on his brother's birthday. So we were supposed to be celebrating a family's birthday with all of the, relatives together, and we landed in the oncology clinic. Never knew what cancer was. I couldn't even imagine children with cancer. So we got to Children's Hospital, and he was put in this little room. And I just saw all these children with IV poles and bald heads, and I went, oh my God. And I barely made it out of the door. I left him in the room, and I went to the front office, and I passed out. I just blanked right out. I said, no, God, not my son. So the shock of a diagnosis, period, but let alone a child, is life-changing and devastation, right? So actually what happened is when he got admitted in for his chemotherapy because he had Hodgkin's lymphoma. They said which was beatable, treatable, pretty good one to get if that's anything you could say. But he shared a room with a baby that was born with cancer, and he was celebrating his first birthday beside Michael. Michael goes, I can't believe babies are born with cancer. He says, I need to do something. I need to make a difference. So he went through 2 bouts of cancer. He ended up 6 months of chemo, looked like he was running races at school, looked like he was completely all better. We thought we got our boy back, and then a routine check year to the date again on our son's birthday. He was re-diagnosed, and now a bone marrow transplant with his own stem cells. And that was life-threatening, of course, but Michael said, thumbs up, we'll get through it. Let's do it.
How old was he at that time?
Yeah, he was 9.5 when he got diagnosed, and 10.5 when he got...
1 year later.
Yeah. So like my husband said, he was writing, he actually, on his 4th month of chemotherapy the first time, he ended up getting meningitis. I thought we were going to lose him to that, let alone what was ahead of him. So he ended up in isolation with, and he said to his dad, he says, "Can you bring in my keyboard, Dad? I want to work on a song." So here he is with cancer, meningitis, in isolation, and he's wrote his first song called "Make a Difference." And like my husband said, he put a CD out after 2 battles of cancer by the time he was 11 years old, and he raised $130,000 with the sale of his CDs because they were in Save On Foods and Burger Kings across Canada, and he was making a big difference and awareness. So now with that money, we went to Children's Hospital. They said, "What do you want to do with the money, Mike?" He said, "I want to fund young research for childhood cancer. We're not going to have them in the future." So everybody about fell off their chair. Couldn't believe this young boy had such a vision. But he did. He raised $2.5 million.
My goodness.
Yeah, he left 2 lifetime endowments for young scientists to study cancer. And then he did. He started his own foundation, and he ran it for the first 5 years. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, Michael beat his cancer. Mm-hmm. But part and parcel of what these children go through, the chemotherapy, the radiation, and some damage to his phrenic nerve. He died of respiratory failure at 16 and 8 days old. So, but what he accomplished in those 16 years is phenomenal, because he was a little actor and he loved to sing and dance and act, and he had an agent. He had a talent agent, and my husband can tell you the story about how he landed this big role. He took him to the audition.
Well, like Gloria was saying, you could see this kid was different. At 2 years old, he was like active and like playing with a plastic guitar and singing. And I was saying to myself, this kid's a born actor. Sure enough, that's the road he wanted to take. 6 years old, he had an agent, and he was doing commercials, TV little roles, and then prior to his being diagnosed, he was doing pilots for this TV series that, then he got diagnosed, so that didn't go too far. But he went for an audition that pretty much...
After he recovered.
Yeah, he got to do whatever his dreams were, act, sing, dance in this spoof boy band, MTV. They did a made-for-TV movie, and the movie did so well that they spun him off into a TV series. And the TV series went on for 2 years, and that's where I believe Michael's foundation got known worldwide, and it grew with him.
And what was unbelievable is this first made-for-TV movie with MTV. There was 5 members of Together, and it was such a edgy, fun, lighthearted. The music was amazing. And here's 5 guys that had never been together, and they got put in a studio, and they just, like, unbelievable how they gelled and produced music. But Michael's story was also, getting out there to the fans, because they were touching the world, right? Because it was pretty powerful. He was opening for Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, in Pink, and Beyonce. All these people Michael had met, and he was in every pop star magazine. So these young fans were like, "Oh my God, who is this beautiful boy?" Because Michael was just gorgeous inside and out. He was such an incredible person, but just full of love. But he was definitely beautiful to look at too. And so the fans just became like, "Oh my God, who is this boy?" And he started to inspire people. Yeah. Like, wow, if he can go through all of that and do this, why can't I do things that? So he's an inspiration to this day, and he has been
continues.
Since he's been with us, really. A real inspiration.
So how many years ago did Michael pass away?
It's been 23. He passed away in 2001.
In 2001.
2001.
23. He'd January 4th, January 5th, he'd be 40. And January 4th, I'll be 70. And we
Oh,
were
you're at the
sharing
right.
our birthdays together. I was
was having-
hoping she was gonna have on my birthday,
Yeah.
but he
'Cause,
wanted
yeah.
his own day.
It was his 40th birthday, and even we were living up in Capitol Hill, and he made me. I was having contractions, so he's hoping that I'm going to have this baby for him. I says, "I'm sorry, honey, I haven't got anything for your birthday." He says, "Well, I just want the baby. Can we
Be
go
a
up
baby.
and down the hill a couple times?" So I did. I tried to keep the contractions going, and we went up and down Capitol Hill,
Yeah.
and then they stopped, and I guess
We missed it for a few hours, but
yeah, he wanted
it's
his own day.
probably
Your neighbor's birthday.
the way it should have been. He'd have his own date.
And what's remarkable, and this is what I believe any parent that loses a child would want to do, is continue their memory. Like, I think that's one of the biggest fears of parents, losing a child or losing anyone. But losing that child, you never want them to be forgotten. So what we've done is every birthday of Michael's, we celebrate his birthday as a family, and we have not missed yet. And in fact, this year we're going to go to Puerto Vallarta, and because it's going to be his 70th birthday, and it would have been Michael's, and then my son-in-law's 50th year. So we're going to take the grandkids, and we're going to celebrate Michael's life. And our other son is going to have a baby, so
Yep.
we're going to get to celebrate.
Yay.
Be good.
If someone cries, I cry, just so you know. Yeah.
So they're going to have a baby, and they're going to do the reveal. We're going to do that coming up on Sunday. This Sunday coming up, we're going to do the gender reveal. And our son Stephen, he always said, "Whoever marries me has to know that if I have a boy,
Yeah.
I want to call him after my brother, Michael James Cuccione, and he's married a wonderful girl, and she's all in, and she agreed with that. And but we want a healthy child.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing,
Yeah.
and there's no pressure about having a boy or a girl. That's not how it is. But it will be a very emotional moment.
Yeah, I can tell.
If it is a boy, he will be his name will live on, like his memory and his inspiration.
To this wonderful person. We've done this for my brother, so that's why I'm like, oof. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My first son has my brother's name.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you
Nice.
lost your brother.
Through ALS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know exactly
I know.
how we feel. And, but there again, how I feel is Michael was such a positive, loving person. I have, even to this day, people tell us stories about him meeting them in being a stranger in the hallway at a school, and how nice he was, how he gave this special little handshake and little pump. He never let anybody go by without embracing people and showing his respect. And he was so positive, even up to the last breath he took. Unfortunately, he ended up on a ventilator for the last 6 weeks of his life.
So it's hard to talk, or
Couldn't
how's
talk.
that?
But he wrote,
But he would.
well, I got a ledger this thick.
Yeah,
The 6 weeks he
would
was
just
in
keep-
there.
Yeah, keep writing. And he even figured out, he says, is there any way I could have a popsicle? Because being on that ventilator, your mouth's so dry.
Dry.
And we would feed him popsicles. He always found a way to get a little light or a little bit of something, that would ease and even make us feel better, that we can make him feel better. So
Yes.
he was just a gift from God. Like, seriously, Dominic and I feel so blessed. We both feel very,
Well,
extremely blessed.
I always say, and I believe, that we were the chosen parents because he was a gift.
Really is.
And our job was to nurture him and allow him to do what God put him on earth to do.
And he loved children, and he really wanted to help the kids because, he didn't say he said it wasn't fair for anyone to get cancer.
No.
And he says I needed to do something. So what he did, what the legacy that he left, after, his passing, we knew, like my husband said, we sat around that table, and now that chair, for the first time when you sit down and have a dinner, and that chair is empty forever. That our son
That was his chair.
Yeah, that now we know that this is really real. Like, because you're just so, everything feels so surreal.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for that because, and I tell people, it's like the wave comes in, kind of knocks you out a little bit, and then the wave goes out, and you catch your breath again, and you keep going. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
And they want us to be happy. They want us to live life. And Michael lived it to the absolute fullest every single day. Even when he was 6 weeks on a ventilator in the hospital, he found a way to be positive. He found a way. The nurse fell and he just thought he was the most beautiful person in the whole wide world. And he wrote one time, because she would do, all kinds of therapies with him. And she'd have him on a beach, and relax. She'd massage his feet. She'd massage his hands. So one time Michael wrote, you need to take your break. If you don't take your breaks, I'm going to have to dismiss you from my case. Because he felt so bad.
Because she was always working so hard.
She would never leave him, and he loved it, though. But he felt bad that she'd never go and take her breaks.
But that was his sense of humor.
Yeah, he had a great sense of humor. But, like I say, he always found a way. And the hardest part was, 4 hours before he left, we were all around him. And he looked at me and he goes, "I'm sorry, Mum."
Oh.
Because they said that, and they said that you need to all come in. He's not going to make it. And so when he looked at me and said, "I'm sorry," it was because he knew he was going to be leaving us. And before the 4 hours before he said goodbye, I said, "Michael, don't say sorry, honey." I said, "You hold that head up high." I said, "You did everything you could in this world, and we're going to see you again." And I know how many parents get to tell their child that they'll see them again, and I really believe that. In fact, when Michael was in isolation, with bone marrow transplant, I could only stay in, or we could only visit him so long, and then we had to leave him.
Yeah.
And then the next morning I'd get our other son to school, and then I'd come back in, and when I came in the morning, he goes, "Mom, you're not going to believe what happened to me after you left." I says, "I was just watching TV," and he goes, "My body just rose up and then spiraled back down." And he says, "And I looked around, and all of you guys were around me, and I could hear and see you guys, but you couldn't hear or see me." And I said, "Oh my gosh, honey." I said, "Listen, let's do a prayer right now." I said, "You tell God what you want." "Mom, what if he tests me more?" I said, "No, honey, you tell God what you want." He says, "God, I know it's beautiful with you, but I want to be with you one day. But please get me through this as fast and as easy as possible, because I still want to make a difference. I still have things I need to do." Well, he got on the fastest consecutive rises, and to this day, in 9 days, he got his white blood cells back, and he got out of there, and he made a difference from every moment that he left that isolation room, that bone marrow transplant room. He never stopped making a difference.
Never stopped. That's amazing. We're now back after the story of Michael. Let's get into the details of the foundation. Let's talk about the events and what's happening within the foundation and how you raise money.
Absolutely.
Well,
The events?
we just finished our 29th annual dinner gala, September 22nd, was it? Yeah.
21st.
21st.
22nd is my birthday.
Oh, that's why it
and
was
I'm
in my
very
mind.
young.
Yes.
Yes.
And young.
Yeah.
I won't say how old she is,
I don't care.
but she's collecting a
66.
pension.
I've earned my stripes.
So that is the dinner gala is probably our biggest money-making event. And then in July we did the 17th annual Kick for a Cure down at the Coquitlam Town Centre.
Yeah, nice community event.
Yeah, it's a community event. Everybody comes out, soccer related. There's
So much
music.
more,
There's
yeah.
so much
Lots of fun.
vendors.
Big family fun zone. Kids.
Yeah, Canadian
games.
Tire comes set up. They give it's Christmas in
July.
July.
They all
lots
get
of
lots
fun.
of nice gifts and stuff. But anyway, yeah, it's a great
And then in May of this year, we did our 23rd annual golf tournament. And
We do them annually every year.
mhm.
Yeah.
So those are three main events that we, the foundation, puts on. But we have other events that people do and
Yes, yeah.
choose the Michael Cuccione Foundation to donate the proceeds to.
Yeah, and then the last couple of years, what's been really nice is because we're part, our program is we again after what Michael established with the 2 lifetime scientists for life, when we lost him and decided to carry on that legacy, and like my husband said, Stephen was like, yes, we need to carry on, and we needed our children to agree, and our daughter Sophia, we all agreed that we need to carry on. So fast forward, we have the Michael Cuccione Childhood Cancer Research Program right at the Research Institute at Children's Hospital. We decided to set up things there because we're better. You've got the children right there, you've got the scientists right there, and everybody collaborates and works together. And we really designate our funds. A lot of people say, oh my God, like how much money can go to cancer? Why isn't there a cure? What's going on? And I tell them, and this is how I feel, is that there's not enough funding going towards research. We need to fund the researchers. If they're not funded, then how are they going to advance or get clinical trials? So it's not about bricks and mortar and just keeping this horrible disease going. We need to support science. So we've done a brilliant job of that. And I'm very proud of doing this because we've seen such incredible advancements that we would have never seen if we just gave the money and walked away. So we have a voice for the children, and whatever we learn at the childhood level, it's helping the adults. And so what we did is tell them about the story about that 16-year-old boy. We got really inspired and did
one of the commitment that we made, I'm going to go back about 6 years, was the CAR T cell immunotherapy. There was clinical trials being done in the States.
in Seattle.
And Seattle, Boston, Philadelphia, and we were hearing children here in BC at Children's Hospital that were given no hope. They were tapped out, can't do anything, go home. But there was this CAR T cell immunotherapy that could have been offered, but it's $280,000 to $350,000 US dollars for a family to try and go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So we decided, well, why do we have to send our children?
I think what I'd like, sorry to interrupt, but there was a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah, I was going to get there.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So there was a 16-year-old boy, the family we met, that we helped raise $280,000 to send him to Seattle for this clinical trial. Unfortunately, the timing, the boy got sick and missed it.
Yeah, he missed his opportunity.
For a week or something like that. He missed it. He was rescheduled, but he passed.
Okay.
And after he passed, that's when we said, well, why can't we have CAR T immunotherapy here for the children? And the thing was that was found. It wasn't offered. So there are, and when you get desperate with your child or with any loved one, you'll go anywhere, do anything. So once we knew that this was just across the border, then we said, okay, what's it going to cost? So we made the commitment, the Michael Cuccione Foundation and our board, we made the decision, we're going to fund it, and we want it to happen. And with the collaboration and the great works with everybody, We got it done in FDA approved, and the first child was done within 2 years. So there's been 12 children that are doing great. And actually at the 29th annual, we honored a family, a beautiful boy named Hugo, that had 2 bouts of cancer, 2 bone marrow transplants, one with his brother, and it still wasn't working for him, and he got the CAR-T immunotherapy in conjunction, and he's back at school, he's playing soccer, he's got this big head of curly hair, he's just adorable, and we honored the whole family. And we show the people. We have 700 people in a room at every gala every year. And those people are giving and donating to us every year. They never say no to us. And so they get to see where their money goes. They get to see that we're saving children. And so, and now, every time we go and make another goal, and like now it's $10.5 million, and my husband goes, "We're not getting any younger. Like this is another big chunk to do." But from our mouth to God's ears, and everybody that loves and supports us, it gets done. It's a number, but
we're gonna reach it.
It's gonna, we're a quarter of the way there. So but the work doesn't stop. So the work's continuing. And now we've made a commitment to have the solid tumors, CAR-T immunotherapy for solid tumors, because the other clinical trial is for the leukemias, the blood cancers, and the lymphomas. But now we want these solid tumors, because these poor children that come in with a carcinoma or these solid tumors, they're at a stage 3 or 4 normally, and that's where we're losing about 30% of our children. So we want to get the CAR-T immunotherapy for solid tumors. And what is incredible is we work with Triumph. They produce the isotopes for the PET scans when you have a cancer. They light up your body to see if your cancer's anywhere. Low dose. So they've got the target already with the low dose radiation to go to the solid tumor and show that there's something inside, because right now they would go and there's a barrier, and the immunotherapy doesn't know to go inside and kill the cancer. They've got the target. And what's incredible is Michael was very proud of being Italian, even though I'm not. I feel like I'm Italian. I've been with him 47 years.
You talk with your hands. Like,
there you go.
You're more Italian than some Italians I know.
That's true. But, English and Danish. But Michael was super proud of being Italian. So what's happening now is our researchers, we've got 10 scientists, but the lead, Dr. Kirk Schultz, he is absolutely unbelievable. I wish we could tip his mind and pass the torch, because he even treated Michael way back. But he's working with the Baby Jesus Hospital in Rome. We have a scientist that's coming to work out of our laboratory that has an important piece of the puzzle for our CAR-T solid tumors. So we're going to have the clinical trials, I would say, within another year. We'll have the start of that.
And is it where the $3 million gift was given?
Well, that was for the blood cancers.
Blood cancers.
Now we're heading for the 10.5, but we're already at 3/4 of the way there too.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we give about $1 million, $500,000 to $1 million check each year, but the last 3 years, Children does a matching campaign. So we give $500,000 and they match whatever they can. So they've been getting about 6 or maybe more to match us. So we're, it's a partnership, but the researchers always tell us that if we didn't do what we're doing for them, they wouldn't be able to do the work they're doing, because we really love and support them. And they are our masterminds.
That's amazing.
To get us there.
That's absolutely amazing. So if someone wants to help, are you in need of volunteers? What's happening behind the scene and where are the needs? Of course, the money is the donations. We already talked about this. We can talk even more about this because I think that's the purpose of this.
Mm-hmm. But well, volunteers, even like Michael said, volunteering your time, it makes you feel so good, right?
Absolutely.
So of course, volunteers are fantastic, especially with our Kick for a Cure. It's a big event, and we're not getting any younger. Maybe we think we are, but we need to start to let go a little bit more and designate. So with good volunteers, it's helping us to be able to do less and still do the important parts of running the foundation. So we love volunteers. But, really, it's as simple as going online to the childhoodcancerresearch.org and just making a contribution. A lot of people need tax breaks. I mean, even Dominic, my husband, and I, he's retired now, and we still have to have tax breaks. Otherwise, you put a lot of money towards the government, right? So if somebody needs a tax break, or if they just believe in science and helping children and cancer, period, because the immunotherapy is going to help our adults, like I said, you can go make a straight donation, and we give tax receipts, but or if you want to do a little event, if you're doing an event in memory of someone you love and you want to maybe give it to someone that around cancer, you can designate the funds to us, and we'll support the process and be super grateful for the contribution.
The other thing is the awareness. It's not all about the money. I think the awareness is very important.
Absolutely.
That is put out there for people to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And that even though everything might be going great and has been for years in their household families, that they too can get hit. And it's nice for them to know that there are people like what Michael started and what we continue to do, just in case.
Yeah, an insurance policy. Yeah. And even what you're doing with us, really appreciate it.
This helps too. Awareness.
You reach out to people, and you never know who's going through a lot or who wants to do something in memory of someone they love, and we can work with that as well, because, like I say, you don't want to ever forget the people that have gone before us.
Another thing that we do, I've spent many nights out having a beer with a father that's struggling. Either they lost someone or their child's in the hospital battling. And I feel that when I talk to these parents, I do help them. Because they know that I've been there and I've been through the worst. You lose a child, that's the worst that could ever happen.
And I find that men hold a lot inside. So I think it's been fantastic that Dominic, when we hear of a family, he reaches out to the father, and I'll reach out to the mother, because it's so important that you let out your feelings. Don't hold this inside and have resentment and anger, because you don't want to ruin the rest of your life, and your loved ones don't want you to be sad. And also, I mean, it took us a year after we lost Michael. It's a blur to me. We could barely look at each other. We were just both struggling every day to just get through the grief and the mourning of it all. And then I remember it was a little over a year, and our friends asked us to go to celebrate their anniversary, and we went to this Ricky Supper Club. At the time it was a dinner and dance. All of a sudden I found us on the dance floor, and we're dancing, and then all of a sudden I started to cry, because I went, oh my God, we're dancing. And then I said, no, Michael wants us to dance again. We got to do this. And so we just hugged each other, and we broke that sadness, and we broke that, that stoplight of enjoying our lives again. And we started to live again. And you can live again, and you can be happy again. And, it's tough, but and even for our other children, like, I can't even imagine if I didn't get out of bed and get my boy to school, and I just didn't.
You had to continue for the other children.
If I didn't snap out of this, what would that have done to my other two children or my husband? And relationships, it's hard on relationships. So that's the other thing. Don't blame the other partner. It's, he couldn't give me a hug if he, when I'm crying, he'd sometimes leave me in the car crying in the garage. I'd be wailing because he goes, I'm sorry, because he's hurting.
Like everybody grieves in their own way. Yeah. And I just couldn't handle her the way she was grieving, it was just too much for me.
Yeah.
I'd let her do what she had to do. And sometimes she'd be in the car and I'd be going in my room.
I'll be crying upstairs.
And, grieving my
It
way.
is hard to
But
lose a child, and
yeah.
everybody grieves differently.
Yeah.
And I think the best way I can explain grief, I'm going through myself, also is grief. It doesn't matter if you work like crazy, or you try not to think about it. It will show up whenever it show up, and it will wait for you. If you put your head deep into work and you think it's just gonna go away, it will not go away.
No.
It doesn't matter. It will show back. It will come back, and it will show up. And at one point, you have to be okay with it. To be like, okay, it's there. I'm crying. Okay, and we talk about it, and I take it as a celebration.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Talking about them, it's celebrating them, and it's like if they're with us, and we're cheering with them, and it's amazing what Michael has done. I think it's an amazing story, and thank you for continue the foundation. I know there's a lot of work that is put into this, and most of those events are all local Tri-Cities. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is here in the
Yeah.
Tri-City.
All
You
here.
both reside in the Tri-City. Michael was in the Tri-Cities,
Yes.
born in the Tri-Cities, and in Coquitlam.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to, as Tri-Cities Community Television, that we're able to talk and celebrate him like that. And thank you for continuing doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Now I want to know, is there anything you would like to add before we let you go?
Well, there again, if I just feel that, when you're in the depth of despair and grief and you feel really stuck in it, I believe in the power of prayer. And I don't know where I'd be today if I didn't have that power of prayer. And even if you don't believe in something, just give it a try, because it's too much for us to walk alone. And, I've begged God to let my son be here, but he had another plan. And so you also have to forgive. Forgiveness is one of the most important things that you can do in life. Forgive, and then you cleanse yourself, because we're forgiven for everything we do that's wrong. And I just think that if you just put all your anguish and your despair and your heartbreak into a power of a prayer and say, please help me, you'll be surprised how from your mouth to God's ears you will get helped. Don't do this alone.
Yeah. I would just like to say, if there's anybody out there that wants to reach out, they're more than welcome to tap into the Mike Cuccione Foundation and call us.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We've helped save a lot of marriages, believe it or not, by just getting together with
And
them.
that's very important also.
And we've seen a lot break up, which is heartbreaking.
Super, very sad.
Yeah, the children, your other children are already suffering too. So, and then your family's already broken, and now you break it apart. These young children are watching us to be strong. So we have to lead it by an example to our children that we can get through everything together.
So tell me the website.
childhoodcancerresearch.org. All one word, childhoodcancerresearch.org. But if you just Google Michael Cuccione Foundation, it can take you to the website. And also, if you want to be inspired, if you go to YouTube and you put Michael Cuccione in, you will be blown away.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, as parents, we can listen to him sing. We can hear his voice, as hard as it still is. Even when I listen to him, it's a double-edged sword. I love it, but it hurts my heart a little bit too. But if you want to be inspired, go put his name in. He spoke all over the world in front of on stages with 7,000 people plus, and he would just spill his heart out. And just listen to him if you're down, and he'll lift you back up.
Amazing.
He had a one-on-one meeting with Pope John Paul II in Rome.
Wow.
And the reason why I'm telling this story is because when the kids were growing up, at the table, we'd be talking, and one night I told the kids that Mom and Dad are going to take you home where I was born in Italy, and the house that we were all born in is still standing. And it was Michael. He looked at me, he goes, "You were born in a house?" I goes, "Yes, all your aunts and uncles."
Not at the hospital, in the
And
house.
it's still there. And one day Daddy's going to take you there. Fast forward, he was the one who took me back home for the first time.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he got to meet Pope John Paul II with his father.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was amazing. It was
And,
like,
and I remember
story.
you told me, they said, don't put your hands on the Pope. You know, keep your
yeah,
hands
there was
down.
protocols. You don't touch the Pope. You don't, you just put your hand out. He's going to bless you, kiss your hand. Whatever.
Within 5 minutes, Michael said, please help all the sick children in the world. And the Pope goes, don't worry, Michael, I will. And then Michael touches the Pope.
Yeah.
So
But
they
we got
broke the rule
pictures.
really quick.
They broke the
He
rule.
broke the rules, but the Pope, it was all good.
All
Yeah.
right.
What a blessing.
What a blessing.
Even though it hurts, you miss them every minute and every hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a blessing. And when when you have people in your life and you lose them, just keep them close and peaceful in your heart.
So keeping Michael in your heart and keeping the people we love in our heart, I think that's a beautiful
Their
way
memories
to...
alive. And don't be afraid to talk about them because
Absolutely.
they
That's how
deserve
we
that.
celebrate them.
And thank you for allowing us to share our story.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. I personally know your daughter, Sophia. I love Sophia. And
She's a great gal.
she's a great gal, and you have amazing children, and I love what you do. So keep shining,
Thank
keep
you.
doing what you do. Thank you so much from the Tri-Cities Community Television and from myself, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and we'll have to do it again next year.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Yes,
More progress.
absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you for our next interview.